on top of it, there is this ethical belief, and it's right, it's correct, that the customer is gotten and he must be serviced good. Of course he must be. And the customer, as you probably well know, have you ever noticed a customer who has like a couple more things to complain and to kind of just ask lots of questions than he could and should? Yeah, they do that. They tend to do that. And that's fine. We still should service them. But it shouldn't be at the cost of doing sales and marketing, because that's where he will spend his time, sales and marketing. Unbelievably lots of time. Marketing will almost fall away. Sales will become weak. And something very important here. You're going to cloud the guy's, the salesperson's mind. He runs around with a cloud because he's doing customer service. Any and all complaints, which sometimes are not even complaints, they're just demands and adjustments by the customer, will hang over the salesperson as a cloud. And when he goes out selling and or marketing, which will be little, he'll have this cloud hanging over, and he'll keep saying, our product isn't good, it isn't fast enough, it is too expensive, it is this, it is this, it is this, it is this. He will become a less aggressive salesperson, I guarantee you. All right, it gets worse. It gets lots worse. In many cases, the person now is supposed to do the collecting of bills. You know, some people, depends on your product and service, there's a bill collecting going on. People have a 30-day net, 60-day net, 90-day net, whatever. If it applies, very often that customer service person, that salesperson who is working on repeat sales, which is the only thing he works on after a while, you know, no more new blood coming in because he has to do customer service, he has to do the bill collecting, he you know, is doing a little bit of marketing, but very, very little, is doing sales, can't work any new sales prospects because he doesn't do any marketing. So what he does, he keeps working on the old salespeople, and quite often the old salespeople give him more or less enough money, so he kind of keeps dragging his feet along it. But here's what happens if the person does bill collecting, never mind that it again takes time away from all the other jobs, especially the marketing, especially the selling, that he does that, he gets now again weak. The person, the client, complained a little bit, one way or the other way. He owes a little money, is a little bit behind, and a new order needs to be placed. Big conflict, same person on the job. New order to be placed, or collecting all the money. The salesperson goes, well, if I collect all the money by force and tell him gotta pay up, he might not place the new order. That may be even worse. So let's do some compromise at least. Collect a little bit, get the new order. And your cash flow problem starts coming. And he becomes weak in terms of selling for full price. Why? Because he heard all the problems. And this becomes weak. In fact, the salesperson will believe that because the customer is behind in the billing a little bit, that he has no money, and the only way for him to buy something new is if we make it as cheap as possible. Ladies and gentlemen, business owners, you're setting yourself up for one big, hard struggle of ever really going ahead if you do not separate the jobs. On top of it, it doesn't even calculate in the fact that marketing, even though it means a bubbly, outgoing person, and so does it for sales, are two different sets of knowledges. So is the customer service, and so is the bill collecting. Okay? There's a certain character of people who can do bill collecting better than others. There's a certain character of people for customer service, and they might have more technical knowledge. They should usually, but depends on what it is. They might need that. And you might think they need that for sales. Oh my God, I find that so often that people think the salesperson got to be technically knowledgeable. What a baloney. You don't need to know how to build an airplane to sell an airplane. Trust me. You don't need to know how to build and make and repair a car to sell a car. And if you think it's different for your industry, you are so mistaken. Now, I haven't, or I have maybe mentioned, but maybe I haven't mentioned it, is some of the principle I'm outlaying here, they're going to be difficult for you to accept at face value right away. I do understand. I completely understand. Because you've done it for so long, and your colleagues and your whole industry is doing it for so long, and all of a sudden I say, bow, salespeople shouldn't be trained in technical. I'm not saying they couldn't be trained. I'm just saying it's a waste, and it's in many cases inefficient. The guy starts talking technical so much that he doesn't give a sales talk the way he should, which is different than talking technical. I know you gentlemen, business owners, think that knowing technical because you do it and have done it maybe at the beginning is important to make a sale. It's not. It's not. We see it in dentistry, we see it in medical fields, we see it everywhere, in machinery. We see it all over the place. Being technically inclined makes you usually just talking too much garbage and bullshit, and it doesn't really work. Now, on top of it, it takes a long time to train, so you need a technical guy who understands the stuff. Now you need to train him in sales, which most technical people are not salespeople inclined. That's why they went technical in the first place. Yeah. Most doctors, most, not all of course, but many, they're social deficient. That's just all there is to it. They're not good people. They couldn't explain a root canal or a cold in normal terms if you hit them over the head with it. They think that the technical, clinical terms they learned, that's what the public understands, and they can't talk in another way. Yeah? They are too smart for their own good. And most of the time it is the receptionist or some other treatment plan presenter who presents their treatment, and should be. Okay? Now, that's a good example, and there are many other examples like that. So the point of this whole is, why train a person in 4 different jobs? It takes a long time to train him up, and now you created a monster, literally. You created one person who can possibly not be lost. He's the customer service. He knows the customers. If we get him away from customer service, then, oh my God, we will lose customers. If we get him away from the prospects, then they will not ever buy anymore. All baloney. We change presidents every 4 years. We change CEOs of the largest companies every few years. You know, I used to work for companies like Hilton. People from the catering director, from the salesperson, from whatever it may be, including the general managers, the food and beverage directors, the whatever it may be, they get changed every 2-3 years, period. If you don't get changed, you probably get fired. You usually get a better position or position in a different hotel or whatever it may be, but you get changed in order to keep the blood going. So many, like on my last trip in India, again, I heard it 15 years ago when I first consulted in Bombay, is this, we cannot lose this person. Of course not, because he has all these jobs. He's literally holding you hostile. Not that he wants to, not that he's a bad person, but it looks like that. Ladies and gentlemen, you need different people for these activities. It doesn't really work. Why do you think Mr. Henry Ford invented the conveyor belt? The car building. One guy does, welding. The other guy puts the wheel on it. Every guy does one thing. He doesn't even have to move from one job to the other one. The car comes to him. There's a reason for that. See, if you have this person doing these 4 jobs, he has to go around. Mistakes become high. He forgets something here, he forgets something there, and he has to move around. He has lots of idle time. And he took a long time to train him up on these 4 jobs instead of just train him on one. And pick the person who's more, basically naturally inclined and talented for a particular position, because those are very different type of characters of people. You give me a repetitive job and I die. I'll quit. I just can't do it. Some people here, they love a repetitive job, customer service and stuff like that. So anyway, you got to realize that you created a monster here. It took you a long time to create it. It was very expensive. And now you have that person who apparently you cannot live without it. And on top of it, you have the most inefficient person you can possibly create. But you created that person. The person in himself is not inefficient. All right? So that's it for this particular activity of organizing sales and marketing. Realize sales and marketing are two so different departments that they are actually different companies. You know, what do you think why there are marketing companies out there like on Madison Avenue? Madison Avenue is like Wall Street. Wall Street is for stocks. Madison Avenue is for a marketing company, not sales companies, marketing companies. Saks Fifth Avenue is for fashion or something like that. So that's where all the businesses gather. People on Madison Avenue can and will market any and all companies. And that's where the people go when you want to be a politician and want to run for president. You go to Madison Fifth Avenue people and get them as marketing people. That's where IBM goes, and that's where everybody goes there. And those people would market any and all business because marketing in itself is a full-fledged business. And you better start treating your company for a treat and create a full-fledged marketing department. That would be the first thing to break out of this whole thing. Let the rest be as it is, the way you go ahead, move it along, break out the marketing first, and that's mainly what our whole seminar today is all about. By the end of this 4 to 5 hours, you should have an extremely hell of a good idea of what marketing actions to do. All right. That's it for that one. Okay, see you in the next video.